Listen, you have one life, and you have a certain amount of time. And right now there's some urgency because now is a great time to get new business. People have PPP money. People have extra money here. You think, businesses that you're dealing with, they've got some jack. You can't have that excuse anymore. Now, if you're going to do some construction on your, now's the time. People have this money. And so there is a sense of urgency. You want to find out whether or not this person is or is not a prospect in a nice way. And you want to find out if they can help you. I have an insurance guy. His name is Bob Steer. And Bob Steer is just a guy who I started doing business with a long time ago, and 25 or 30 years or whatever, I was in business with Bob Steer. Bob Steer is just like every other insurance guy. He does the same things. What he does is he comes and he gives quotes and he does everything else. But on my birthday, August 10th, I know for a fact two things. One, my mother is going to send me a card. It's going to arrive at 10:36 in the morning, which is the time I was born. And number two, I'm going to get a phone call from Bob Steer. Bob Steer doesn't send a card. He doesn't send a letter. He doesn't send an email. He doesn't go on LinkedIn. He doesn't do anything on Facebook. Bob Steer picks up the phone and calls me on my birthday. What kind of national crisis or world event would have to take place for me to switch from using Bob Steer? One time a year, he takes 10 minutes out of his day, and he's earned my business and the referral of 10 or 15 other companies I've given him, my entire family, and everybody, and I speak about him at conferences around the world. What would it take for me to switch from Bob Steer? One of us will have to die for a 10-minute investment in a phone call. I'm not trying to make you feel guilty, Richard Kirby. But I'm saying how simple it is to gain loyalty.
Yeah.
You don't want a satisfied customer. You know what satisfied is? Satisfied is 1 millimeter above unsatisfied. Satisfied is the base. That's where you start. Everything's satisfied. You want to create loyal customers. And loyal customers get phone calls on their birthday. So Richard Kirby, if you want to find somebody's help, I want to teach you guys the 7 magic words. Richard, if you walk into a department store right now, or you're buying a carpet store, and you walk in and a salesperson comes up to you and looks at you, what do they say to you?
How can I help you?
How can I help you? It's their job to help you. So if you call somebody or you meet somebody, there's something about giving help. People love to give help. If you walk into Home Depot and say, where are the wrenches? They'll say aisle 7. If you say these 7 magic words, I wonder, write them down, I wonder if you could help me. Hey, I wonder if you can help me. You say, where are the wrenches? They say aisle 7. You say, I wonder if you can help me. Where are the wrenches? They say, come with me. I'll help you. And they will drag you over to aisle 7 and wait there with you so you can pick out the perfect ones with the orange handles. People have a need to help. So Mike, when you're in a networking meeting, hey, I wonder if you could help me. Who would you know that's doing business in Japan or wants to grow their manufacturing facility in Japan? And if you don't know anybody, that's okay. You always want to let them off the hook. That's how you make it easy. Here's another group of words that you really like. Listen, it's okay to say no to me. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. I say that. I write that in emails. Hey, I wonder if you can help me. My name's Dan. What we do is we build self-functioning, highly profitable sales teams for companies just like yours. Who would be the person I need to speak with regarding that? By the way, that's my cold call. But you can do that in front of anybody. Hey, I go to a networking meeting and we're talking, we're joking around. So what do you do? Well, listen, I wonder if you can help me. I'm looking for new business. What we do is we help companies build self-functioning, highly profitable sales teams for their organization that the owner doesn't need to be involved. Who would you think I should speak with in your organization in regards to that? And if you don't know anybody, that's fine. But you're in and out. So what you need to do is firm up, Mike, your message. And we can talk a little bit about that. So let me hear your, and listen, we're all friends here. You can make no mistakes and we're here to fix it. So if I were to ask you, hey, Mike, what do you do? What would you tell me?
I would say I bridge gaps between Japanese companies or Japanese and American companies. If I want to, I guess that'd be my tagline.
And I'm going to play with you a little bit, and I want you to listen to the sequence of this. James, you'll see something familiar to this that we saw at that meeting the other day. But so tell me a little bit about that. How does that work?
How does it work? Okay, for example, so if a Japanese company is struggling to make some kind of change here in the US, maybe some kind of business change or a corporate change, or maybe some kind of new product launch or something, and they're struggling with communicating with the local people or with whatever they're trying to get done for whatever reason, I'm the specialist, the kind of person that can come in and help them identify those areas where they're lacking, where there's a cultural misunderstanding, where there's a technical misunderstanding, and make sure that both sides understand one another and things are very clear.
Got it. All right. I'm going to cut you off just for a second. Okay. Yeah. But right now, that's okay. How many people, and again, everything I'm saying here is out of love. All right. And I mean this, I'm not kidding.
No,
everything I'm saying. How many people here are bored? All right. And so now I'll tell you how you could jazz it up and make it exciting. So tell me, can you give me an example about someone you've done this for?
Yes.
Okay. See, now I'm already excited because I know what's coming is a story. All right. So he's telling me a bedtime story now, which is great. So give me an example of a company you've worked with.
Seagate Technology.
Well, well, tell me the story of the example. I don't need the name of the company.
So when
I am going to call them and steal them from you. Go ahead.
So I was working for a company that was actually a supplier to Seagate, which is a hard disk drive company. And they had meetings that they had back and forth between the supplier in Japan and then the technical group here in the US. And they were horribly long meetings, like 2 and 3 hours. They had a translator there going back and forth. Everybody dreaded going to the meeting and getting things done, even participating in it. And I went in and I talked with them and I said, let's narrow down exactly what needs to be talked about and shorten the format way down to go from 2 hours to 25 minutes. And so we called it the 25-minute meeting. And it was suddenly radically successful because people were willing to go and attend and have everything be broken down and very precise so that they were able to take care of it.
So how did that benefit them?
It reduced the time that they had to go to meetings dramatically. I mean, to go from 2 hours to half an hour was wonderful.
And how did that benefit their company?
They were able to launch a lot of products without the problems and extra time needed to troubleshoot or go back and forth. Did you mean this? No, I meant that type of thing.
Okay, so at the end of the day, what you provided to the company is something I called outcome marketing. I don't really care about what you do. I care about the outcomes to myself. A Mark could talk about clothes all day and bore the heck out of me. Or he could say, if I'm a lawyer, you'll win more cases because you just look better and you look like a real, lawyer or whatever. Or you'll close more deals. You'll impress more people. Your wife will like you better. He could talk about the outcomes. So in your case, what we do is we work with Japanese companies or American. Japanese or American companies that do business in each other's countries
Right.
to make them more efficient and more profitable.
Okay.
Who would I need to speak with in regards to that? You know, and so all of a sudden we're just talking about the outcomes. Now you could sexy that up, or, you know, who knows what their problems, and we can go there. But if you can get that to them, and now just a little sales thing. I don't know why, but in this, when you're giving your message, we help companies is less effective than we work with companies. I think it's some psychology, because if you're dealing with an executive, in their head, they're saying, who the hell are you to tell me that I need help?
Yeah.
Up yours.
Yeah.
You know? Or you could say, we work with companies. By the way, I'm from New Jersey. Up yours is a greeting. I mean that in the best sense. You know? But yeah, so you know, we work with companies that want to improve their efficiency and profit from working with companies that work in Japan and America, improve their communications efficiencies, and ultimately profit through better communications. And then you finish it with a closing question. Now, a closing question, so if you can get this right, a closing question is basically a trial close. Can anybody give me any trial closes that they know right now?
If we could help your company improve your efficiency and get products to market sooner in the United States, would that be of interest to you?
Yeah, well, very good. That question is a closing question, but you're kind of making me feel like an idiot. You back me up in a corner and said, you know, would you like more money, more fame, and better looks? Would that be of interest to you? You know, so you kind of, someone feels like they're being pushed. But let me give you an example. I increased somebody's in a flea market. I increased their sales by 300% in an afternoon by adding 3 words. And I just couldn't stand it anymore. Watch this guy. He made this beautiful stuff. I don't know. It was like the wooden stuff and whatever he was making. And people would come up and say, how much? And he'd say, you know, $150. And I'd say, oh, okay, good. And then they'd walk on. And then someone else would walk up. How much is this? Oh, that's $25. Okay, good. And they'd walk on or whatever. And I said, you know, I can't stand it anymore. You have to add these 3 words and see what happens. And so I said, after you say it's $150, just add these. How's that sound? Just like that. And we practiced it. So it's $150. How's that sound? So who's going to practice? So Don, practice it for me. How much does that cost? Say $500. And then how much does that cost?
Yeah, how's that sound?
Well, give me the price. I want you to hear the whole thing. So just say, make up a price.
Okay.
So how much does that cost?
$225. How does that sound?
Okay, good. Now, and then you practice that, because at a point, you're going to get to the point, how much does it cost? It's $10,000. You know, in our classes and in my classes, we make everybody stand up and say, you wouldn't believe how people's face contort. Just to say how much, even in a room like this, how much does it cost? It's $10,000 for that service. How's that sound? Was that more or less than you thought it would be? Anyway, this guy, I came back to the flea market later. I walked around and I came back to him. I go, how are things going? He goes, I'm sold out. He goes, I can't do it. Because what it did was it started a conversation. How's that sound? Well, actually, it's a little high. I'm not looking to pay that. So make me an offer. And now you're in a sales situation.